All right, guys, I saw a couple of stories that came to my attention, and I just wanted to give them to you this afternoon. Kind of let them, sink in and see how you feel about these two stories. I will put a link to both of them in the description box below. I'm going to give you a quick synopsis, a quick shot of it. And you can click the link in the description box of either or both stories and look at them in their entirety. It just seems like after 2020, 2021 hit, and then of course we went into 2022 now, and it just seems like everybody has just lost their mind. Like nobody can act right. You know what I mean? It's just people are like, well, this is no exception. Residents of a Virginia town were ordered to shelter in place today as police search for an armed and dangerous man who tried to run over two police officers with a stolen police car. Makes you wonder how the hell he got a police car. But officers gathered in the south side of Pulaski to search for Jared Celebrity Brown, who stole additional firearms from the police vehicle after crashing and fleeing on foot, the Pulaski Police Department said. So not only did he take their police car, he stole the firearms out of the car. Multiple gunshots were heard in the area, but it was not immediately clear who fired them. Police said, adding that no law enforcement personnel have discharged their firearms at this time. Ha ha, yeah, we believe ya. Sure we do. I wouldn't believe a cop standing on a Bible. Police said no injuries have been reported as the manhunt continues. All residents on the south side and multiple schools in the area were ordered to shelter in place until the situation was resolved. Citizens were asked to avoid the area of Valley Street to Draper Mountain Lookout, and officials said that traffic was not being allowed to cross the mountain. The schools under the shelter in place included Pulaski Elementary School, Kritzer Elementary School, or is it Kreitzer? Dublin Elementary School, Pulaski County Middle School, and Pulaski County High School, along with the school board office. They said this is just a precautionary measure and there are no actual issues inside any of the public school buildings. That's according to Pulaski County Public Schools on a Facebook post. Now, police advise residents not to approach Brown, and if they spot him, call 911 instead. And if you call 911 on this guy, run in the house because they may confuse you for him and shoot you. It's not unknown for the cops to do that. The second story I'm going to jump right into and then let you guys discuss it amongst yourselves or with me has to do with Gabby Petito. She was the one in Utah. Remember, she was in some type of altercation with her boyfriend or fiance, whoever it was, and the cops came and there was a domestic issue and they let him go, and then she ended up dead, and then the guy ended up killing himself as a possible suspect of her murder. All of that, guess what? Footage recorded by police body cameras shows Moab, Utah police officers talking to Petito and Laundrie, who admitted having a fight in which Petito said she struck her fiancé first. Now, many of you, if not almost all of you, have seen the video, I'm sure. I'm not going to put it up here, but they were talking to her and then they let him go. But officers noticed Petito had cuts on her face and arm, and she demonstrated how Brian had violently grabbed her face during the altercation, telling police, Laundrie gets frustrated with me a lot. Now, despite the cuts and Laundrie's inconsistencies, one of the officers said Petito must be booked into jail since under the domestic violence statutes of Utah, she was considered a primary aggressor and Laundrie the victim. Under the Utah domestic violence statutes, you have two people, they're fiancés. They're fighting, that's a domestic. They have cuts or wounds. One of them must be arrested as a domestic violence aggressor. That's under the Utah statutes. Do the police do their job? Do the police ever do their job? Yeah, I guess sometimes. I'm very critical of the police. I don't know. And it's not because of any recent incidents. It's just doing these editorials over and over and over and over and over every week. It's like the cops aren't changing. They're just, they don't care. Is anybody, I don't know, man. It's frustrating to see cops every week screwing up. Well, these cops screwed up big time because both Petito and Laundrie objected to either one or the other being arrested. And so officers eventually agreed not to charge Petito as she and Laundrie agreed to spend the night apart. All right, we're not going to arrest you or charge you. Just don't stay together tonight. It's a domestic with cuts and wounds. Just put some peroxide on that or Band-Aid or whatever, and just don't be with each other tonight. What the? A review of the Moab Police Department's handling of the incident by an independent investigator, a captain with the police department in Price, Utah, about 115 miles away, recommended the two officers who responded be placed on probation, saying they made several unintentional mistakes. Unintentional, my ass. Namely, failing to cite anyone for domestic violence. That's not unintentional. They intentionally failed to cite or arrest for domestic violence. That's not unintentional. They intentionally agreed to not do their job. Now again, namely failing to cite anyone for domestic violence, though there appeared to be only sufficient evidence to charge Petito. Well, she had cuts on her hand. They admitted to fighting with each other. They were fiance. That's a domestic with injury. Under the statute in Utah, one of them goes to jail. The investigative report released in January recommended new policies for the department, including additional domestic violence training and legal training for officers. Recommending new additional domestic violence training. That's not going to help. That's not going to help. You know what that's going to do? Give them a break from patrolling on the street to sit in a classroom for 8 hours. That's about all that's going to do. It's never going to end, guys. I'm going to keep doing editorials, but it's almost like I'm doing them just to tell you how much cops are screwing up, because none of them are changing.